like books.
Books are great.
Guess we'll read some books.
Welcome to WeRead.
Now with better drivers.
Yeah, now with better drivers.
Now with better graphics drivers, I should say.
Don't read and drive at the same time.
I mean, better graphics card, reading, driving. I don't know what I mean.
It's kind of late.
Yes.
We should probably be in bed.
We should.
Brant Hansen's Unoffendable.
Unoffendable. It's a book about suffixes.
Or as I say, oi.
Or as a prefixes.
Oi.
How just one change can make all of life better.
Okay, this book was recommended to me by my mom. My mom recommended it.
Hi, Mom.
My mom. My mom's awesome.
He's a mama's boy, but I love that about him.
Yeah, you know what? My mom is a righteous, godly woman, and people who do not notice or appreciate that are not worthy. So, there. My mom's awesome.
Okay, let's see what one change can make all of life better, shall we?
This is a blind read. We don't know anything about this book other than she said we might like it. So, here we go.
Video capture software device, that's what it's called.
Praise for Unoffendable.
I think we could skip this.
Hey, it's there. You can read it if you want.
It's up to you, but generally the praise section we can kind of...
Okay, 2 to 3. This book hurts so good.
Hits me like a gospel bomb.
Come on, does anybody read this stuff?
Some people do.
Unoffendable. There's all the important parts. Okay.
So we're going to skip over.
We're showing this so that these people hopefully don't sue me. Okay, moving on. There's more people who shouldn't sue me stuff. All right.
Well,
ESV scriptures, so that's something.
Some of them are from the Message, and some of them are from the Niv.
That is the elect standard version.
From the New Century version. New Century version.
Mm-mm.
There've been a lot of ESV fans out there, but
To all those who want grace for themselves but struggle to extend it to others.
that's none of us.
No, definitely nobody in this room. Wait, that's everybody.
Okay, book, I'm starting into
All right, book, you got me. Good job. Being unoffendable. All right.
We'll discover this along with you.
Anger is the most fundamental problem in human life.
I
wouldn't say that anger is a problem. I would say how you process it, being in a healthy or unhealthy way, can be a problem or a
Meanwhile,
difficult
look
challenge.
at our other book series. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. Number 1, being unoffendable, the ridiculous idea.
Okay, so this may sound like the dumbest thing you've ever heard, but here goes. You can choose to be unoffendable. I actually heard a guy say this at a business meeting. That is striking to me for a few reasons. 1, I'd never ever thought about that before. 2, I remember something from a business meeting. And 3, I was actually invited to a business meeting.
Remarkable. I remember the guy saying it's a choice we can make, or just choose not to be offended. Sure, right, man. Choose to be unoffendable. Just, choose, as if it's really just up to us. I found this offensive.
By the way, I just looked at the definition of offended, and all the dictionaries say something about anger and resented. Yeah, actively aggressive. I guess it does say something about anger and resentment. You just put a point. Good job, Blake.
By the way, I just looked up the definition of offended. Oh, you were reading from the screen. I thought you were actually, you did some research into this book.
No, you looked up the definition for offensive, and it did mention something about resentment and anger. He was right. He just proved us right. Good job, author. When I'm writing about the word here, then, that's what I mean. There's another definition about having your senses affronted or offended, but that's not the definition we're dealing with here.
If you want to know what that feels like, we have a nursery, and in this nursery is a diaper trash can that is used just for dirty diapers. Go take a big whiff of that, and you will experience the other kind of a sensual offension.
And then take it out, please.
Yeah, I just did. I took it out. It's out front. Tomorrow's trash day.
There's another definition about having your senses affronted or offended, but that's not the definition we're dealing with here. We just made some homemade barbecue sauce the other day, and we unanimously and immediately agreed right then and there that it was highly offensive.
Okay, that happens.
Yeah, we made some Brussels sprouts once, and they were pretty offensive.
Brussels sprouts are great. Lemon is great, and teriyaki is great. But all three of those things together
just don't add up.
It's the taking of offense, and the very presumption that somehow entitled to be angry with someone that I'm talking about. Surely there's got to be a place for righteous anger against someone, right? Surely there are times we are justified in our anger.
Gary thinks so.
Wasn't I supposed to be angry at people for certain things? Isn't being offended part of being a Christian? But what that guy said at the business meeting did get me thinking, because he was so obviously wrong.
Okay, Martin Lloyd-Jones.
And besides, since I call myself a Christian person, wasn't I supposed to be angry at people for certain things? Isn't being offended part of being a Christian? So I did what any rational, fair-minded, spiritually mature person would do. I scoured the Bible for verses I could pull out to destroy his argument. Logically pummel him into submission and, win. Be right.
Yep. Hey, $10 word here. That's actually called,
and there's exegesis and eisegesis.
Yes.
I think that's
eisegesis.
No, that's exegesis.
Exegesis is the proper one. Eisegesis is the improper one. I think.
Well, if you know which one is right and which one is wrong, like, comment, and subscribe.
Please.
Problem.
I was trying to give you a $10 word, but I'm too tired.
I now think he's right. Not only can we choose to be unoffendable, we should choose that. We should forfeit our right to be offended. That means forfeiting our right to hold on to anger. When we do this, we'll be making a sacrifice that's very pleasing to God. It strikes at our pride. It forces us not only to think about humility, but to actually be humble. I used to think it was incumbent upon a Christian to take offense. I now think we should be the most refreshingly unoffendable people on the planet that seems to spin on an axis of offense.
Forfeiting our right to anger makes us deny ourselves and makes us other-centered. When we start living this way, it changes everything. Everything. Actually, it's not even forfeiting a right, because the right doesn't exist. We're told to forgive, and that means anger has to go, whether we decided our own anger is righteous or not. Interesting, that's not what we read in the other book.
Well, wait, what? Actually,
we're told to forgive, and that means anger has to go, whether we decided our anger is righteous or not. The other book said that there's a righteous anger.
We've decided our anger is righteous or not. We have a righteous anger, but we still choose to forgive because that's the best action. And I think he's getting ready to convince us why forgiveness and forbearance, because being unoffendable is another word for being forbearant. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to make a big case through this whole book why being forbearant is the best course of action for a Christian.
Okay, so it's not saying anger is not justified. It's just saying that you need to let it go, whether it's justified or not. Okay.
He's saying, well, you feel anger, but don't hold on to it. Okay, anger is not meant to be a resident, only a visitor in the human heart. That's a quote from our other book.
Intertextuality.
It's not forfeiting a right because the right doesn't exist. We're told to forgive, and that means anger has got to go, whether we've decided our own anger is righteous or not. Okay. So even though you may say, I have a right to be angry right now, what you're saying here is, I'm going to forgive instead, because that is to my glory.
Even though it's a sinful offense okay.
Well, no, not necessarily sinful. Well, even if it is sinful, he's going to give us several reasons why we should still be forbearant.
Okay.
Okay. Because if you call the sinner out on every little sin, mm-hmm. they're going to love you. Moving on. I sense a lot of people think this idea is stupid, and they don't agree with me on this. And I sense this because lots of people say, that idea is stupid and I don't agree with you on this. I've got an antenna for subtlety like that. I pick up on things. Plus, lots of Christian literature out there says I'm wrong. Typical. This entry from an online devotional dealing with anger. The writer gives what I think is the reigning understanding. Anger is often just what we need. There's a positive, even essential side to anger. I doubt that we will ever accomplish anything fruitful when anger isn't part of our motivation at a certain level, at least. We don't ever accomplish anything fruitful without anger. including, say, writing devotionals. Here's another example of how we retrofit actual scripture with our current embrace of our anger culture.
When you are angry, do not sin, and be sure to stop being angry before the end of the day. That's not exactly what it says. And in the Message it says, go ahead and be angry. You do well to be angry, but don't use your anger as fuel for revenge. Did you catch that? I love Eugene Peterson, the guy who wrote the Message. But sheesh, you do well to be angry? That's not in the original, folks. That's an updated version. Hope you like it better. It does say do not let the sun go down your anger, but that doesn't mean it's bad to be angry.
Yeah, what it's saying is that anger should not be a resident in the human heart. It's supposed to be a visitor.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It's remarkable that Peterson does this, considering that just a couple of sentences later, Paul wrote, do not be bitter or angry or mad, in the NCV. And somehow from this we get, you do well to be angry. Honest question. Why do we decide to read the Bible that way when it comes to this issue? And another question. Why, when I talk about anger on my radio show, do so many believers instantly go to the scripture about, in your anger do not sin, and then skip the rest of the paragraph? I ignored the context. Do not be bitter or angry. Paul was saying clearly that yes, we will get angry. That happens, we're human. But then we have to get rid of it. So deal with it. Now, we have no right to it. And, ooh, we're getting a highlight. The first highlight of the book.
So deal with it. I wish I could put a link here to anger. Processing a powerful emotion in a healthy way.
So deal with it.
So deal with it. Those 4 words summarize my entire previous book series. Anger. Dealing with the powerful emotion in a healthy way. So deal with it. Process your anger. Because let me tell you, you don't have another choice. When you experience anger, it doesn't go away. It's like nuclear waste. It's just going to keep infecting your environment until you process it in a healthy and proper way. So whether your anger is valid or distorted, whether what that person did was a sin or you just made you really uncomfortable, you still have to process that in a healthy way. So I think there's going to be a lot of parallels between that book and this one, but they may use different vocabulary. Be careful not to say that they contradict each other. More likely it's going to be our own understanding, since we're going into this with a blind read. Okay?
Fair enough.
So I believe that there's plenty of room in scriptural teaching for 2 books on this subject. Okay? So when it says right there, so deal with it, that's the previous book. And now this one,
we have the right to it,
is going to be this book. You understand?
Okay.
I think that's what's going to happen here. That's just a theory. Okay, I haven't read more than half of the first chapter.
We're in page 15, which is fair, although a lot of those were just accolades about the book.
Yeah, another fair question, and one you're likely asking, but isn't God allowed to hold on to his anger? Doesn't Jesus get angry? My well-read, thoughtful, theologically nuanced response to this is, yeah, well, of course. So let's continue this next time on We Read. This is the book song. I make it up as I go along. I'm singing so that the credits have time to roll. This is the book song. It's getting worse because I don't rehearse. So click on the next video and let's all read some books.